Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom. Liam McKelvey, who's with me right
Hello.
here.
Hello, Jake Kulkowski.
Master of the RPG, is the new role-playing game from Level 5 and published by Bandai Namco and was released on Microsoft Windows and Sony PlayStation 4 on March the 23rd, so last week. And the game's a sequel to Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch, which was a PS3 game from 2011. So, Liam, let's get this out of the way first before anyone says anything else. There's two Welsh boys. We're 100% certain, aren't we?
Yep.
That Drippy from Ni no Kuni is the best Welsh representation this country's ever seen, correct?
I mean, yeah, you can't argue. Don't give me this Edward Kenway shite. It's Drippy.
Yeah.
No questions.
That's why Mike's not in this video. Tidy. So we've both been playing it over the past week. Initial impressions, Liam, what do you reckon? Love it, hate it?
I love it so far. I'm only about 6 hours in, but I've pretty much had a smile on my face every second of it. There is not one thing I've not enjoyed about this game so far. It's just magical, isn't it?
Do you know what? I'm 100% in agreement. It's like I was surprised. I played it at EGX 6 months ago, and it was like the best game of the thing for me. And then I went in expecting it to be great, and I was still blown away by how good it was, by how great it was, and how much everything just works together. But have you got any standout bits that really, I don't know, hooked you in? Was it the music, the graphics, the story, or is it like me, everything together?
It is pretty much everything together. Everything is like standard. Like the combat is fairly standard, like, you know, action RPG. You got your light attack, your heavy attack, your skill wheel, all that sort of thing. But it's just the way it flows so smoothly. Everything integrates so well. Like the animations are so smooth. They make the fighting just look like really flashy. The music, it's just like that little fanfare you get whenever you pick up an item or you finish a battle. It's a combination of all the factors that I think if they were on their own probably would just make for you pretty average RPG, but because they're all so well blended together, it makes the package as a whole just like stand out.
You know, that's exactly where I'm coming from as well. I think it's that perfect balance and stuff like that. I'm very, very impressed. I think the art style is probably the factor that
it's the big standout, really.
Yeah, it stands out for the right reasons for some people, and for other people it's the wrong reason. Some people have said it looks a little bit anime for them, a little bit childish. But if you're just missing the game based on the graphics, I reckon
it's probably not for you.
Yeah,
if the graphics bother you that much, it's probably not a game for you.
Yeah, it plays like how it looks, so you can kind of get a good feel for it. You mentioned a minute ago that it's a bit more like an action RPG. You're no stranger to JRPGs. You played more JRPGs than anyone else I know, and a lot of criticism I see about JRPGs is that there's turn-based combat, which the first game had. Is that right?
It was like sort of turn-based, but you could move about and stuff like that. And it had like a bit of a Pokemon feel to it as well. We had your familiars and you had to have like a little team going. And
this game doesn't have familiars, first of all.
It does not.
It's also not turn-based, right?
Nope, all real time.
That's something I've seen in Final Fantasy 15. Is it something that JRPGs have decided to make a push towards lately, or is this still quite an original thing for a JRPG?
It's been happening with JRPGs a lot. Most of them are going like real time now. It just seems to be turn-based combat. It's sort of like fallen out of trend.
Yeah,
it's like Final Fantasy 15, like you said, it's gone real time. The Tales of games, they've always been real time, but they've gone a lot more like combo focused than they used to be. It's an overall trend with JRPGs where they seem to be going more in favor of like the flashy action sort of combat rather than the traditional like menu turn-based stuff you find in like Final Fantasy 7 and stuff like that.
Yeah,
they've changed an awful lot.
I mean, this game, despite feeling fresh, does remind me, you just mentioned Final Fantasy 7, yeah? I remember playing Final Fantasy 7 as a kid and loving it. I loved the overworld, the first time you got to the overworld, and the music and that little victory theme and all that. I've got a lot of... I don't know what it is about this game, because I wouldn't say it's particularly similar to Final Fantasy 7, but it really does make me remember how I felt then playing this, if that makes sense. It's how I thought I remembered a JRPG, if you know what I'm saying. I'm getting that wonder as a 26-year-old man playing a game about a half-cat king. I just like blown away by everything that's thrown at me. So the story is quite standard, like would you say
standard
fairy tale?
Yeah, it's your standard like RPG thing, like the posed king trying to rebuild his kingdom, that sort of thing. Kind of generic, I guess, but it's just how they handle it. It's done with such like earnesty. Is that word earnesty?
No, yeah. No, you're right. It's done like it really believes in what it's telling you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not like just following the tropes. It's doing them like with conviction, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like they really wanted to write this story. They didn't just like get a boardroom together and say, all right, let's do this because everyone else is doing it. I mean, the story starts off with the real world, the world as we know it, and love it, some people. You see a limousine featuring the president.
The US president.
Yeah, and then some missile thing goes overhead. Next thing you know, he wakes up in this magical world.
In a magical kingdom, yeah.
With the king, King Evan, this cat-looking boy. And then the story goes from there. Basically, there's been a military coup, and his parents have been slaughtered, and they're trying to. The mice are trying to kill the cats, and you have to go and build a kingdom. Here's something that you don't see in your average JRPG. Kingdom building is a thing in this game.
It is a thing.
This is something that Level 5 have done before with Dark Cloud, right?
Yep. Famously, build your own town. You could customize the terrain and all that.
Yeah, it's a real standout game for the people that played it anyway. I think Dark Cloud, a lot of people remember that. You know, you'd go and gather resources and build stuff. But this is the same dudes. So they've got city building. Well, I say city building, it's actually kingdom building. You know, so like I just said, you've been kicked out your kingdom of Ding Dong Dell, and you're making your own place. A bit like that. I guess Suikoden games have got it as well.
Yeah, Suikoden.
That's it, Suikoden. That's how you say it. Oh, God.
Yeah, that's all about building your own kingdom, amassing an army, and taking back what is rightfully yours.
So again, quite similar to that. Then this kingdom building is pretty deep. Actually, it's like you recruit people, put them in your kingdom, and it's like based on people's talents.
What's like personnel management? You've got to assign people to certain like ministries, depending like what their speciality is. Yeah. So if they're good with money, you want them in finance. If they're good at like combat, you want them in your defense department.
Yeah, exactly. You can put a blacksmith in the armory or whatever, and then you can augment your armor later in the game. And if you do that, it's beneficial to your regular playstyle. So although it's not, I wouldn't say it's a side quest, but you don't have to really do it. As the game progresses, you can make of that what you want. But if you do things like put in a good financier in your financial sector, or
it has real game benefits for you.
Yeah, that's essentially it. It's affecting the base and the main game rather than just side quests being side quests. Like you've been into the old karaoke, haven't you, on Yakuza?
Yeah.
Does that have any main game benefits?
Literally, none at all. It's just there because you can. But it's so fun, you might as well do it.
So that's why a lot of people leave side quests on the side, because they don't really find the benefit.
Because they have no impact on you.
Yeah, I guess another thing that, just hopping back to the story a second, another reason people leave side quests in a JRPG is because the game is just quantities, loads of. This story is quite lean, I find. You go from story beat to story beat quite quickly, and you're on a world map in the first 20 minutes, aren't you?
The pacing is very good in Ni no Kuni, because like JRPGs are famous for having like long, drawn-out tutorials that take like 8 to 10 hours to finish. Yeah, like you said, half an hour Ni no Kuni, you've been taught all the basics, and you're out on the world map.
Yeah,
like exploring.
It's insane. Persona 5 was a game that.
That's a very JRPG, like almost stereotypical, like 10-hour tutorial sort of thing.
10 hours and you're still getting tooltips that pop up and pause.
You're still getting paused to like, here's how you do this, here's how you do that.
Exactly. Whereas if you play Ni no Kuni with your head down and you just focus on the main quest, 10 hours, you can get about halfway through the story.
Probably,
which makes it quite a short JRPG in comparison.
It's short by JRPG standards, yeah.
But still a good value proposition for your money, you'd say, right? You get about 40, 50 hours of story.
I'd say it's one of those games where it's like, it can be as quick or as long as you want, depending like how in-depth you want to go and everything. Like, you could probably spend like 10 to 15 hours just building up your kingdom alone if you wanted to.
Exactly.
Or you could just smash through the main story if you really want.
Exactly. You can also spend time doing a variety of other like missions, I guess. They're like tactical army battles.
The skirmishes, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So rather than your regular action RPG fare that we were talking about earlier, you have these like tactical battles or skirmishes, like Liam said then, where you control little squads of people, and I don't know if you'd call it a real-time strategy, but it's,
I mean, almost Pikmin-ish.
Yes,
but a bit more combat-based.
Yeah,
rather than puzzle sort of thing.
No, for sure. If we've got any footage of it, you'll see exactly what I mean just by looking at it. In fact, a lot of people have been saying by how the Higgledies, which are replacing the familiars in the first game, are in the regular battles, they say, they remind me of Pikmin kind of thing, because they're like kind of collectible. They're like environmental destruction, aren't they, that move around, really?
Pretty much, yeah. They've got like loads of different abilities. Like some can heal you, some can cast like massive damage spells, some are like support. They're just like little support characters in battle, really.
Yeah. how it works is you can have 4, I guess, squads of Higgledies in your battle, as well as your party. So party management in JRPGs, you normally have 3 or 4 characters you control, and you have your sub bench where you replace. Same with Higgledies, you can have 4 at a time, and you replace them on will, right?
Yeah.
And the Higgledies are unusual looking things. They kind of look like those little spirits from Princess Mononoke. And
The Kodokawas, is that what they're called?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Kadama, something like that. You can see where the segue's going, can't you?
Yeah.
Studio Ghibli, as I wrongly call it.
Or
Ghibli.
However you want to pronounce it.
The greatest animation studio to ever see the light of day. Collaborated officially on the first Ni no Kuni.
They did.
At the time this game was being made, the studio was defunct. So they've got the Studio Ghibli veterans in there, like Yosuyuki Momose, who did Grave of the Fireflies animation, Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, one of the biggest animations ever, and also a soundtrack by Joe Hisaishi. I think that's how you say it.
Hisashi?
Hisaishi, yeah. Hisashi.
I don't know.
One of us will be right, and that's a nice feeling.
Yeah, we got all of it covered.
The soundtrack, though, is very, very interesting, very, very enjoyable.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about it? Is it very standard JRPG, or is it a great soundtrack, really? And I'm not just going crazy.
No, you're totally right. It is a great soundtrack. It's like fully orchestral, if I believe.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's got a sense of when like you walk out onto the world map and it has that like little like fanfare at the beginning. It inspires like just a sense of adventure, and like you just want to go out and explore this like world.
Yeah, the game just really does feel like it's got you where it wants you to be. Like, you are engaged in the story, you are feeling like you're going on an adventure. Whereas if you've been on an open world, overworld, dialogue heavy JRPG adventure 100 times like you are, I'm sure there's some games that will lose you in the first 5 hours, or you'll be like, oh, how tropey is this? But this game, from what you've told me, seems to measure up quite well compared to like Dragon Quest 9 Million or whatever, Xenoblade and that.
I mean, as far as Ni no Kuni goes, I'd say it's got a good chance of attracting non-JRPG fans as well as JRPG fans, just because of it is very standout from the rest of them. It's like doesn't have all the tropes. It's not like a long, drawn-out game. It's very straight to the point. So got a sort of mass appeal, I'd say, that most JRPGs struggle to have, you know, outside like Final Fantasy or something like that.
I think you're totally right. I think that's a perfect closing thought, really. It somehow manages to appease not only the masses, but also JRPG veterans like you. It's an excellent game. I'm loving it. You're loving it.
Yeah.
Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom, out right now on PS4 and PC. It's about 45 quid.
Yeah.
Sick. Cheers, Liam.
Thank you.
Cheers to you for watching and listening. And I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.